Well, if it's anything that we've seen is that practice makes perfect, and if you don't practice Probius, he will struggle. As we talked to Josh in the back, he said maybe the teams just aren't practicing him. He's a fine hero. Well, so far 0-2. Maybe the teams do need practice, Dreadnought, but I don't think they're finding it by way of Probius anytime soon.
Yeah, probably not here. I don't know if we're going to see that here into the next game. From what we have seen so far, the only hero, I think, the two heroes I'm left on the list of hopefully we get to see it would be a Sylve or a Cho'Gall.
Or a Gazlowe.
I'm down. I'm down with the Gazlowe.
We're going to Towers of Doom.
Are we?
In the last one. Yeah, we're going to Towers of Doom, man. Tempo's pick. No surprise there. One of their favorites after we get past Dragon.
I will say that another composition that I've always wanted to see brought back. I've said it at some point during HGC on a broadcast. I don't remember if it was you or again throughout last year, but I talked about bringing back the Immortals composition from Cloud9.
I was just about to say.
It's only been buffed as time's gone on. A lot of the heroes in it have gotten reworked or better within the meta itself. Leo, Tacidar's the only one who got nerfed, and at the time he was the best hero in the game, so it made sense that he kind of got reeled back.
But the one key element to all that, Dreadnought.
Abathur, you got to get yourself.
And then the other hero, Murky. But what if you get two of those here? Abathur, we know, does well on Towers of Doom. Here, think about this, right? So double support meta was strictly relying on auto attackers, not a lot of ability damage. Murky, before they took away the really OP 13 talent with the physical armor, maybe Murky was the answer the whole time.
Maybe he was. Not enough Murgalurgalurgs in chat. Apparently. Genji Bandel, isn't that what he sounds like?
Yes, when you put it in chat, they will draft it. That's the way Twitch chat works.
Yeah, because our pros actually usually take all of the highest suggested picks within Twitch chat at the time, put it in a random generator, choose the number, and then select their heroes based on whatever feedback Twitch chat has provided, correct? That's professional drafting strategy, right?
Well, I mean, that's how I do my stream.
Yeah. Just
you tell me what to play, I'll play it.
Flip the coin, baby! I'm going to walk into your chat sometime and just beg for Probius after Probius. Random donations, just Probius, please, Probius, please. And then you're going to ignore it one time, and then I'm going to remind you of, remember how Rich said no to the Murky from Trick?
Oh, he's still to this day rides that.
He's still a little salty. Mephisto, first pick
I think he's more heartbroken than salty.
You're probably right.
Like, Trick, he means it. I can feel it in his voice when he's like, Rich, I just want that one game. That's it. That's all he wants. Trick will not rest until he gets that game.
And I'm sure Rich is dying to satisfy Trick's desires there. As we get a Tyrande Li Ming combo, a lot of kill potential up from Tempo Storm, a lot of delay potential there between those two.
Okay, so Li Ming does very, very well against stationary targets. The other thing that works well against Mephisto, you have to make sure you use your shade from a spot to where you are way out of range, or there's something to block the path of a Li Ming skill shot, because you always go back to the shade. Li Ming can aim abilities at where you teleported from with that shade.
Yeah.
The other thing is, Twin Blades variant. The other thing that works really well is stationary targets for Li Ming. Even if it's not the Mephisto. Tyrande does very well to mark a hero, stun a hero on follow-up CC, but there's one ability that does things very well in terms of grabbing somebody and locking them down. It's Octogrip.
That's a good point. Didn't even think about that, man.
You're welcome. It's time.
I'm a little... I don't know why my brain does this, but because of how wild these drafts have been, but something about that Karzim stands out to me here, even though it's a wild draft. Normally, because when you see a Karzim in high response with the Tyrande on the other side, it's actually with full intent to palm. You're letting your target die to the Tyrande, but then you rebuttal everything past that point and be overly threatening. But with the variant picked up, I don't feel like that can be the go-to or the case within this composition.
With the variant, the Arthas denial is there. Murden and Johanna still have soft counters. ETC has block party if he wants to go that, but Variant's auto attacks with Twin Blades are really fast, as is Karazim's auto attack, so less likely there.
What if you went Rhaegar and just lusted the Karzim and the Twin Blade variant?
Now you're selling me.
Yeah.
Now you're selling me.
Yeah, let's go.
You can't even A move with a variant at that point. It's like, I hope I'm on top of you.
Yeah.
It's got to be it. Rhaegar.
Nope, it's Tassadar.
It's got to be Murky. Gotta be Murky.
If it's not Murky,
if you octo grab a Mephisto who has used his shade in, I believe he can't go back.
Because the duration of Octograb is greater than that of Shade, and therefore he'll stick with the stun?
Yeah, there's a few abilities that deny that. Oh, well, well, well.
When does Dreg get his cool heroes?
Do you know how many times I've said just butcher Tehran to me, kick it old school?
Yeah.
Point, click, stun. Li Ming follows up that. The problem with this comp is Varian can go shield wall at 10. Tassadar has shields, will likely go the armor once the shield breaks at level 4. That makes it tough. Very, very tough. But as new heroes come in, you have to think outside the box. Lamb to the Slaughter takes a second to go through. If you shade in, I put my Lamb to the Slaughter where you're going back from, and you're like, oh, man, I don't want to go home.
No, you're dead. You're just stuck there. And so much so that I actually think that my original, even though I didn't think it would come to light in this draft because I didn't think the picks would, I do think that it's going to be a Karzim with a Palm Intent because of the Toronto Lunar Flare one-shot capabilities. You probably aren't going to be able to keep them alive, and as we talked about, I think there's a lot of setup for Lamb to the Slaughter. I would be very surprised to see a Tomb, or a Furnace Blast in this game.
I mean, I wouldn't say no to it.
Yeah.
Draft-wise, I'm not kidding when I say this. Butcher has a higher health pool than a Nubarek. Point-and-click stun. He doesn't really do a lot of damage till late game. I almost wonder if Butcher should be put into the tank category. Let's give him a small health buff and call him a tank. He has a slow on his Q. He has a stun on his E. He has self-sustain on his W. That doesn't sound like an assassin to me.
I think this is a conversation for another time.
I'm just saying. He has block at level 1. But this seems like a Twin Blades. That's High King's Quest picked up there for Varian.
I was wondering if there was ever going to be, because the Karzim was so high in value, an argument for an adjustment on his level 1 talent. Maybe not the Iron Fist, something like the Transcendence or the Insight. But still going to kick it with the Iron Fist. Butcher is one of the heroes that really limits either one of those other talent tiers from being a realistic option because if his brand is out at all and you're like, oh, I'm trading into him. The answer is he's trading harder with his brand out.
He has block at 1, spell armor when you connect with your charge at level 7. We've seen that picked up before. The Earth Ally, somebody in every team fight when that breaks out, the Earth Ally at level 4 by Karazim is so strong against this style that they will need somebody to make sure and target that to clear that out in each fight.
I really like how Tempo's playing this so far, though. First Lunar Flare combo going to come out. Not going to connect there. But they're using the Tyrande and the Shrub the entire time. Once they hit 4, this is going to get a lot more threatening because all they're doing is sending up Butcher, ATC, which are both the Lunar Flare setups, right? You have the Power Slide and the Ruthless Onslaught. And then just wait for anybody to show themselves on the battleground, go for the long-range onslaught. And then once you hit 4, June doesn't have to risk his positioning to make sure he gets a follow-up on that Lunar Flare.
Is there a case to be made with True Shot, though, giving you the extra auto attack? And look how threatening this is.
I mean, Toronto Butcher.
But Mouthdale is still top, and we see Cure coming down.
Yeah, Lunar Flare going to throw down hit 2. Actually, Fan on an island, though, comes in with a Ruthless Onslaught, trying to escape there as he throws down a hamstring Cattle with the knockback in that loudspeaker. Tries to get up onto that Sapper. Power Slide available in a few. He lands a 3-man Power Slide, but nobody able to get the follow-up. Lunar Flare coming out too late here. Tempo Storm, another knockback there from Catalyst. He's kiting away, but Endemic is so low. Glorum cannot get over the wall fast enough. Actually, barely missed the minions, or heroes, excuse me. Endemic then move forward a little bit too far, and suddenly what was a escapable circumstance heavily punished by Glass. He has no mana. Otherwise, I feel like he's going to turn this around.
Yeah, that was a real... I had to look at it for a second. Butcher, 39 stacks after that skirmish. Li Ming, oh, hello
Value.
there.
Value. Talk about the call out of B-steps. I respect that. That deserves a B-step if I've ever seen one.
That was stellar.
Get
wow.
some, says June here. By the way, I want to point out something that happened in the last fight. June had an amazing lunar flare as the combo comes out. He's dead. Welcome to this composition.
That's all I've been waiting for so long, Dread. Just one time is all I need. You can
die happy now?
Die happy.
All right, that's good. I'm glad that this game can carry your enthusiasm for pretty much the entirety of your existence.
If you've only known how many times I've done that same combo with friends. I charge, you stun, then another person slides. The markup, nobody makes it out alive. We do get cooldown reduction at level 4 on that charge, so that will help. So instead of 15 seconds, it's 10 on your charge in.
But over that last skirmish, bringing it back to what we got out of June, is the power slide was used, and the Ruthless Onslaught was not value. It was used for an escape. And still, June hit a 2-man raw lunar flare that set up the initiation on that fight. And then the second set, he was actually threatened so far back that he couldn't get the lunar flare pre-4 to get the follow-up on the 3-man power slide. If that happens, I'm pretty sure that power slide enables 2 kills. Cattle can lock down the 3rd, and then it puts it in a situation where Tempo is just dominating, which you see come to light here. He's coming back.
Look, there is not a single hero other than Tassadar, who can only do it once, essentially every 30 seconds, that can even set foot outside of the gate.
Yeah. Like, until 16. Then Cleansing Dash comes in, and Cleansing Touch, and you're like, well, I have multiple tools to be able to deal with this.
Butcher, 110 stats.
Yeah, and Jay, we were talking about whether you lamb, or whether you furnace, whether you lamb, and one of the biggest things that I think is going against lamb in this game is the fact that the support is Kharazim. Kharazim should be near unavoidable. Now, post 7, when he goes increase radiant dash cooldown and count, puts him in a position to never be hit by that lamb to the slaughter. He never realistically should be able to, and then he can get the palm onto the lamb target.
You know what I just realized, though? Pre-16, unless we're going Durance for Malthael in a Sunder, if you're outside in range, nice power slide over. He's coming back. He is not going home here. Body blocks. Cattle put himself into position. But there's no interrupt for Mosh Pit.
Yeah. Not only is there no interrupt for Mosh Pit, I mean, this could be some of the fastest last right stacking with this composition you've ever seen. It is so easy to put somebody below 33% HP with this combo, and it's even easier to make sure that last rights gets the follow-up. Butcher doesn't need to make sure he sets that thing up and follows up and gets that solo damage himself. So Tempo has a terrifying composition. Pretty big lead here when it comes to shots on core. And they're winning on a macro fund. This feels like Endemic's got to find a way here.
Here's the slow. Cattle could always turn and slide in if needed. Oh my. Vin with the calamity.
Minions.
The minions.
He had to use that Earth Ally and dash out just to get that. One lunar flare is not enough to get the kill there. Is June questioning if he can move up. One more lunar flare would be enough. Ruthless Onslaught used. Tassadar is going to be the focus. Or excuse me, not Tassadar, but in fact was Mephisto.
What if Butcher is the Mephisto answer?
I mean,
160.
see how you make me have to say mean things about Butcher in the way you pose these questions. Like,
you could just embrace it, be like, maybe.
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 Did that make you feel better?
170 stacks. Oh,
thought to be a little bit more.
He has no stun follow-up. Just had to have a side step.
Oh my! I want to. Can we get an instant replay on that? Because I'm pretty sure that he clipped that animation, and if he had, he was going down. Larong out too far here, trying to play some cheeky back and forth here between the minions, but ends up dropping.
I kind of, if we get that replay, I want it in slow motion.
Yeah, because that was close. Here we go. The power, or the radiant dash out versus Vin's orb. There it is. He's behind it. He barely skims the outside of it from behind. That was. Whew.
Okay. Furnace
Palm
Blast.
The Palm. Palm makes Furnace Blast look silly.
A little miscommunication here. Fan is struggling there in the 1v1. Twin Blades will out-damage that, and it does just that.
The palm, Crocs for big impact. Last rights is going to be there for Kalau, but it doesn't matter at this point. Sappers make their way, or excuse me, not Sappers, but shots make their way to the core. As we have a...
Yeah, I think we're getting some of the replay audio.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was like, Sappers, wait a minute, that was
like,
shots.
Where's Furnace Blast?
Yeah. All right, we're good. 5-0 White there. And J-How, though I know nothing matters in this series, that was a huge setback, like, in that last fight. Tempo had everything going for them. That palm wasn't even originally onto the Furnace Blast kill target, and it still worked out great from Endemic.
I can tell you one thing, that Twin Blades, as much as I hate to admit it, will do very well against a Butcher. Like, you think, okay, I should have this, and all of a sudden you're like, God, Varian, stop healing. Oh, Varian's still healing. This isn't good.
So it's almost like Twin Blades is like a better Butcher because it doesn't need the brand, and he still out heals? No? All right.
Point and click stun. Varian lost that a long time ago. It's crazy. He did have that once at level 4.
Yeah, your Warbringer was the time to remember, J-How. It was. 13 talents here will be picked up much faster here for Endemic after that last skirmish. Not sure if that's actually going to play a hand here over the next altar phase, though. Tempo in the threat they had in the laning phase at the earlier stages falls off drastically as the game moves on. Once laning and solo experience isn't as impactful, the 5-man or 4-man rotations of Tempo Storm don't become nearly as threatening here. So Tempo's got to find a way to keep up that threat that they had in the earlier stages here as this game moves on.
Fan, a minion wave and a half away, 191 out of those 200.
Since you are the Butcher Master, and I don't play very much Butcher at all, I'm going to go ahead and ask this question. The Furnace Blast has 3 pulses in its proccing sequence, right? It pulses, it blows up.
Oh yeah, in terms of the
At
animation.
what time, according to distance of your Ruthless Onslaught, do you pre-prep Furnace before you full commit to a Ruthless? Like, do you wait for 1 proc and a half? Do you wait for 2 procs? Do you wait for just like 1 1/4? How long before you Ruthless?
It's really about a distance thing.
Yeah.
If you're close range, you want to prep it early. The one thing that always works out, and depending on the enemy team, is there's a kill there. It's always, you got to remember, you always have the hamstring. Like, even if you get the charge and you're a little behind on that, you can hamstring them. They can't walk away. So you can always hamstring them and still chase them down with Furnace Blast to get max value like we saw there. We saw him prep it from the bush, but he actually came up a little short on that timing. There's always the scary part. You know, it happens to all of us Butcher players to where, hold on. Oh my goodness. You go to charge it up and then you want to hit E and then they walk right at the corner of fog and you can't press E and then you just kind of waste it. Look, we've all done it.
That was a really good Lunar Flare play. Wow, that was honestly, I want to see some PSS from Glau because he has the right to dish him out after that play. Cattle coming out over the wall, the Sundering there, and Glaurung is still alive, goes back in. Furnace Blast is there. And as we see the 3rd pulse get the explosion, ridiculous amount of siege damage done there with that Furnace Blast to the top fort. J-How, that was, whew.
Just remember, every hero kill from now on gives a bonus 10, and that's what he's looking for. He went percentage-based damage on his 13. I really like the extra damage after you use your hamstring, your auto attacks. When you're stacked is insane. He has no,
shit.
Just body block.
Now he does have a shit.
Oh yeah, but
dance party, baby.
Word.
And Tassador's out of here.
Archon is down. If you ever wonder, when should I one-man mosh? Well, now's the time.
Sappers started by Tempo. Already have a set of Sappers down below. If they get double Sapper, full value, all 6 going into the bottom bell tower, should be a full conversion, putting them at the 16 threshold over Endemic. They're not going to continue to siege with it, and I don't know if they have enough natural damage. I don't think that is the case to get that out. That first rotation would have to set them to a minimum of 50%. We'll find out as they're making their way in.
The one good thing for Kira with the Twin Blades is that right there, the 40% healing reduction with Mortal Strike. And when you go Twin Blades, that is active often.
It's near 100% uptime if he's auto attacking.
Oh, 100% with Twin Blades.
Yeah.
And so that is a scary thing. That wave should come in and confirm that we are in triple alter phase. Oh, Tassadar did make it over.
Yeah, he's going to be able to get the deny with that side storm. A couple waves later, should be able to get it. We see the Lunar Flare thrown out with that Ruthless Onslaught. Great palm coming out from big impacts, but it doesn't matter. This is,
oh my goodness.
It's one of the beauties and curses of Toronto compositions. Is nice way before Smack's range gets the interrupt there from Cure, or on to Cure, excuse me. June starts the channel, has 4 more shots. Top right, Butcher starts those channels out from Fan. And now 8 shots remain.
Well, the boss
of Endemic.
Boss is there. Butcher can solo at this point.
Toronto can 2-man it with him easily.
Who needs 2 when you have 1?
I mean, that's
the
a good
Butcher.
point.
Tempo Storm in prime position to close this out. 240 stacks for Butcher. Storm will get vision and dismount cattle there. Vin will go down. They're going to track it down. The Consumed Souls with the slow. Cure trying to track ground, but the rest of the team not able to make it. Glaurung, however, is trying to 1v5. So far, he's surviving. We got a one-man mosh pit, no interrupts here. There's going to be the blow-up, and that right there is the way that it works. You dive another one, and then you get that value. Ended up proccing the palm, but it forced a lot more. For Tempo Storm, they don't have enough follow-up here.
Slide. Lunar Flare, big impact falling low, but if he survives, they might be able to hold their own. He gets the heal out, and now suddenly, Tempo lose 3 members. Glaurung now has an opportunity to possibly retreat dodge there as he's going to be able to go into mountain onto Mikey Dahl. Now onto big impacts. Oh my, that was such an outplay between Glau and Cattle there to make sure they get at least one of those kills.
He said, oh, he's gonna maybe survive, and he's like, but what if I go back in?
Beacon now going to tank to help with the conversion over. Tempo Storm will have everybody but Glaurung available during this next alter phase.
Well, this game got a lot more interesting with those kills by Endemic.
That's the first time Endemic has had somebody around after the palm goes off. And I can't help but feel like if they had identified, if we just use the palm on the kill target early and then take the team fight, J-How, that is the downfall to Toronto. It has been in the past. She's better at dealing with it now than she's ever been. But she's also less threatening into that kill avenue.
Well, if Mephisto gets to 20 here, we're going to see the charge in. Shield wall used. Power slide is going to be there. Kura getting bodied around. Does have his banner down. That's keeping him alive. Furnace Blast maybe used a little late here.
Yeah, that's that exact conundrum I was just asking you about earlier. Huge power slide, though. Huge palm as well. That's going to get the proc. Mikey Dahl, though, will not be able to survive this as Big Impact trying to dash away. Cure cleaning up a little bit here, trying to slow the advance of Tempo Storm, but there's a lot of fresh meat available. Reset after reset here for Vin. 4 members down. Cure going to go down in a matter of seconds for the ace. And now Tempo Storm can end this game. Alter in bottom, Boss after that, and it should be GG's.
Yeah, they're going to go ahead and walk up there. Butcher will melt that boss. June will start the channel. No support needed up in the top. Cattle says, here's our victory dance. They'll close out week number 10. Stred's doing a head bob over here to the music. I was doing the
mosh pit. I was doing what he does with his head where he's just like rocking out. It's Cattle's birthday. He can cry if he wants to. He can dance if he wants to. But Tempo Storm, now with this shots picked up, Fan not even going to die there to the Mephisto Heroic. End up taking this game on Towers of Doom and taking the series 3-2. And I think with that, it's important to remind everybody at home that has 0 implications towards next weekend.
No matter Team Freedom's result tomorrow, they couldn't make up the grounds in that win-loss category in terms of games. And that's where it came in. Butcher into the game with, I think, about 280 stacks after that last team wipe at the bottom. But a lot of fun picks here in this series. I don't know if we'll get too much information in our interview, but hopefully some good times there. But Endemic and Tempo Storm in the playoffs next weekend. Endemic will be our opening series. So Endemic doesn't want to get anything away. Tempo Storm, they're going to wait. Team Freedom and Octalysis play tomorrow.
Yeah,
they're playing for seeding. And if you're Octalysis, maybe you get some stuff out of the way this week so you don't have to show as much in playoffs.
And there's a little bit of juicy drama between those two teams. They aren't necessarily the biggest of fans of one another. So with the wildness of the drafting that we've gotten from Octalysis as of late, I feel like that series means a whole lot for them. If they're able to get that win there, it puts them one position up in the ladder, as you talked about, which removes one series of drafts that Tempo gets to watch. And for me, I think that means a lot towards Tempo Storm's probability of being the second representative for North America. Is a lot hinges on, do they get to see the entire sample size of Octalysis? Because last time they faced, they didn't. And quickly Octalysis goes, we're just dominating then with that.
The playoffs are going to be wild.
They are.
We've still got one more day of Week 10. Tomorrow's series to start the day with Simplicity now doesn't have any implications after LFM's victory today. For this series, again, without the implications, we had some fun today. We'll see what comes at our first series tomorrow, but tomorrow night's going to be fun. We still got an interview coming in from Tempo Storm in a moment. For Tempo Storm Dreadnought, they had the number 2 seed. They fought well. Heroes Hearth just had one heck of a run with the automatic qualifier. Tempo Storm, you mentioned, they'll only have to win one series. We know they have some new strategies with Arthas coming out, things that they've really been developing. Fans play on Maev. It makes them very hard to ban out whether you want to give up the Maev. We've seen Ven start to be more proactive. This is a team that is starting to, we really wondered. Look, Psalm is a tough replacement for anybody. And Ven came in, he filled the follow-up role. But as he's starting to do more, this Tempo Storm team has gradually looked better. And they are the team that took down Heroes Hearth.
They are. My only concern when I look at this is I go, Tempo is one of the only teams in North America that has been continuously very, very dominant, right? Debatably, you could argue they are the most successful organization in North American history. But with that in mind, I still look at them and I go, every time they find their meta, in my opinion, it's not the same as Octalysis' deviation, right? The level of deviation that we get from them and the ways that they abuse it and really make it perform is not the same as like the death ball melees that we get from Tempo. And I just wonder, as they are honing in on it and finding the direction, I just go, if this is history repeating itself, usually that's slightly off the mark, and that's a big setback for North America at that stage. So it's more just wondering, is this in the right direction? And if so, how is that going to look here for Tempo? And they might be a step ahead of even that of Octalysis. We aren't really sure yet, but it is a concern.
They've changed a lot since the clash. I believe Fan had mentioned previously he's drafting for that team now. There were some changes when Soy came in as the coach, Korean player. Their drafts did look a lot different. We saw very different drafts going into Western Clash look different. Since they've come back, it hasn't been the easiest set, but, they've still performed so well that they locked in the number 2 seed, and for them, they've had the entire week of practice with no pressure on them this week. They'll have another week of practice to go in.
Yeah.
They still have a chance. They're going to, continue to experiment, see how things unfold. We've started to see how some of the double support drafts are playing out, how some of these teams are coming together. It's up to the other teams to show more of their hand. So Tempo Storm is in a good position. If we look at Endemic, though, Dreadnought, they're a team that has gone through some role changes. They came out on fire against Team Freedom. If they take down LFM, maybe they take on Freedom next. Maybe they take on Octalysis. We won't know until tomorrow. But they did have very specific strategies for them. They had a